Hi, guys. Welcome to Real Food Recovery. We are super excited to be here today, and we have a special guest. But first, as always, I must say hello to my partner, Jamie. How's it going, sister?
Doing well, doing well. Very glad to have Rachel Draper here with us. We have our guest today, Rachel Draper, to talk a lot about skin health, and how it connects, how skin health connects to wellness and well-being and the actual, what's happening underneath all of that, all of our skin and in our cells. So Rachel Draper developed her passion for skin health and wellness after struggling with chronic fatigue, joint pain, gut imbalances, and hormonal disruptions that resulted in mood fluctuations, skin issues like acne, infertility, weight changes, and overall health challenges. By identifying the root causes of her imbalances, she healed herself and finally feels balanced and alive again. She takes an integrative approach to skin health, and she's observed excellent results with both her skin and the skin of her clients. As a skin specialist, health coach, and integrative health practitioner, she possesses education and enthusiasm for treating clients through a holistic approach, and she believes the healing comes from within. So she holds diplomas in anatomy and physiology and certifications in massage and beauty techniques from all over the world. She's traveled all over the world learning and growing her craft, and we are just thrilled to have her here today to talk a little bit more about how she got into this world of um, skin and cellular healing and everything, the repair that can happen from within that really shows on the outside, on our skin on the outside. So, and this is a topic near and dear to my heart, because one of the first ways that I knew last year that I was really sick, actually a year and a half ago, that I was really sick, is I noticed it in my skin. Before I felt any symptoms, before I noticed anything else, I
Mhm.
noticed that I was very, very pale. And it was I could not understand why I was so pale all the time. And it wasn't like, oh, I tan and, I've lost my tan. It wasn't that kind of pale. It was, why am I looking so pale? Something's wrong.
Mhm.
And that was the first sign, months before any of the other signs really came out. So I'd love to talk more about that. So Rachel, how did you get into this field?
Hi, and thank you for that introduction. It was so nice. I actually fell into the esthetician field. I used to ride racehorses, actually. So that's how I started to travel all over the world. I became an esthetician when I was 21, and quickly loved the skin. So I love taking care of people and doing facials. So I continued to do that all the way through my late 20s into my 30s. And it wasn't until my mid 20s actually that I started to find I was getting a lot of symptoms. So I had symptoms of chronic fatigue, joint pain, to the point where I couldn't step out of bed and the soles of my feet would hurt. My hands were stuck like this, both of them. They were like this and I couldn't move them. I would have frozen shoulder, which I was diagnosed with. I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel. The doctors were just baffled as to how much joint pain I had. I'd be in the emergency room probably once or twice a month.
How old were you at this
Um,
point? In 20s?
I was in about 25 at this point. I had such chronic fatigue that my eyes were just so bloodshot. I would fall asleep during the day, wanted to have naps. I had alopecia, so pieces of my hair. I've got a lot of hair. I'd have big, huge, round circles of my hair falling out. All of this was still even not enough to me to be like, I didn't know anything about functional medicine at that stage. I was 25. I was riding racehorses. I was working two jobs as an esthetician, and I was having Red Bulls. I was eating chocolate. I was having a diet, just a fast paced, no comprehension for what I was putting inside my body. It wasn't until I had my first baby and I was pregnant, I found that pregnancy to be quite difficult. I was chronically fatigued, and I just thought it was normal because people would say, it's normal, you're pregnant. The baby came along, I had depression, I had postnatal depression, I had chronic acne on my face, on my jawline. My hormones were just horrendous. But again, I was told this is normal, you just had a baby. But it wasn't until we got pregnant again, which we tried for the baby, and we were 3 months pregnant. And on the first time we went to have the scan, I was told that the baby didn't have a heartbeat. Now, yes, that was very sad news, and it was a very traumatic experience for all of us. But it was that moment that I just really realized that, it was the conventional medicine way. Oh, it's 1 in 5, it's normal, go ahead and try again. And it was just like this blase. And I was still in shock of like, hang on a second. No, I just had a baby like a year and a half ago. I wanted this second one. Why was it that my body wasn't able to hold this baby healthily for the whole way through the pregnancy? I wanted answers. So we did some blood tests and I found out that I did have a thyroid issue. But that was it. The whole solution to that was that I was given a pill. The pill gave me racing heart rate. Again, my acne was getting worse on my skin. And I was told that I had to take that pill for the rest of my life. I just didn't sit right with that. So
Yeah.
I gave the pill back to the doctor and said, listen, I need other options. And he said, well, go find a functional medicine practitioner. And I was like, what's that? First time I was ever introduced to functional medicine, found one really good one in Austin. I was blown away by the lab testing that she did. She literally
Mhm.
handed me all the results. She's like, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, level 7 stress, adrenal, everything is through the roof.
Mhm.
And she basically said to me, when was the last time you felt like yourself? And I just bawled crying. I was like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm struggling. So she's
Mhm.
like, you're borderline celiac disease. You need to get rid of the gluten. You need to stop eating all the inflammatory foods, the sugars, everything. We're on an overhaul. I really know that all you want to do is get pregnant again, but that's not going to happen. We're going to get your body right and then get pregnant. So I focused on everything that she told me to do. I couldn't believe the changes in my skin. I was an esthetician, right? I was helping people take care of their skin topically all these years, and I never even realized, wow, it's so important to take care of everything from the inside out. What is the cause? So the cause of me losing the baby was my body wasn't producing enough progesterone, even when I was pregnant. It wasn't producing any hormones whatsoever. I had answers. So that was it. I was like, there was a fire lit inside of me. I was like, this is it. I have had so many women on my table with hormonal hair, with so many like symptoms that they don't know what's wrong. So that was when I became an integrative health practitioner. I studied, I got pregnant again. We have the most amazing second baby, healthy pregnancy, the most amazing labor and delivery, and the most healthiest, happy little girl. So I don't believe that that's any coincidence at all. I've never looked back. I have never had well, very rarely will I have a joint pain in my body. I don't take any
Mhm.
medicine for my thyroid. I don't take any medicine for my rheumatoid arthritis. I feel better than I felt in my 20s and I'm 40. So, yeah, this is my passion. This is my fire, and this is what I want to teach the world and my clients how to get to the root cause, not only skin, but everything else.
Yes, and I love what you said about the thyroid, right? The master gland. And so
Yeah.
many people, and I love what you said, you're given a pill and you're looking at it, questioning it. Well, what are you doing to address the underlying cause of why I need a pill?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm living that right now. I was
Mm-hmm.
put on thyroid medication and I'm taking
Yeah.
myself slowly off of it because
Yes.
it's not doing anything for me and nobody has talked to me about why I need it,
Yes.
right? And what I can do to heal this thyroid underneath it all. So
Yes.
I'm taking steps to do the exact same thing now.
Yes.
Um, and when that master gland stops signaling to the body what it
Yes.
needs, what it does, and how it's basically talking to the body and getting it's a director, it directs everything in the body. When that stops
All the
talking,
hormones.
you've had maybe 20%, of it not talking. 20, you were seeing 20% of the symptoms. I was further along the line,
Yeah.
where organs were shutting down because my thyroid wasn't talking to them.
Whoa. Wow.
And so it's very, very important to understand when women say, oh, I'm hypothyroid, or oh, I'm hyperthyroid, or oh, I've got this thyroid related illness, like Hashimoto's, like, so many of these uh underactive thyroid illnesses that are out there now.
Mm-hmm.
They think, oh, it's this diet, or oh, it's that pill, or oh, it's this
Yeah,
protocol.
it's never referred back to food or lifestyle or what's the reason why the body is needing like this extra hormone. Why is it not, why is it overproducing, and why are you feeling these ways? How did you get like that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
I love this conversation, and it's so important because let's take, for example, someone that would come into you that has skin issues.
Mm,
Where do you start with them when I'm sure you can probably see that there's other things happening?
mm.
How do you approach that? Where do you start with them? How do you bring it up? And are most people receptive to talking about the big
Yeah,
picture?
I find a lot of my clients are very excited to talk about the big picture because they can't wait to like have answers.
Mhm.
And without a doubt, the most important part of anyone coming to see me is a consultation. I don't only go into like the skin, but I go into an overhaul of what is your food like? What are you eating? What's your lifestyle like? How's your stress level? What are your symptoms? I even do assessments like if there's a possible overgrowth of candida, if there's gut issues, if there's parasites, if there's hormone disruptions, what's just the cortisol levels like, your circadian rhythm. Like it's not just one thing, it's everything that comes together to be able to create a balanced body, which gives you more energy and glowing skin. There's not just one silver bullet to the acne. There's, like people say, what causes acne? Well, let me tell you 100 different things that causes acne. Let me find out what causes your acne. Very different.
Right. And at Real Food Recovery, we have 16 branches of recovery that kind of goes along with your philosophy as well. Our four main branches are the single ingredient food,
Yes.
movement, some type of sustainable movement in your life, making sure
Yes.
you're sleeping enough at night, and some form of spirituality. We don't tell people you need to go
Love
to
that.
church. It's
I love
whatever
that.
it is that a source that you need to have in your life for
Yes.
comfort when things get
Support.
hard.
Support.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mhm.
so do you bring the other elements besides food into and how do you approach
100%.
that?
Yes. So, as an integrative health practitioner, and my mentor, Dr. Cabral, he works what we call a de-stress protocol.
Mhm.
So, diet, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation, toxin removal, rest, emotions, and
Mhm.
skincare. But in my own like journey, have really found that spirituality and the love and the support has been the biggest game changer for me because we can do everything. We can eat right. We can use the right skincare. We can take all the right supplements. But if we're not dealing with our emotions or trapped trauma or love or loving ourselves or having that support from whatever that spirituality looks like for you, in my case, it is the Lord and it is God. And I love having that support in my life to be able to have answers as well in like love and support, basically.
Isn't it just so interesting how whatever's going on the inside, like Jamie was talking about her first sign of something was wrong with her skin, how it literally can't help but to just seep through your pores and come
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
manifest itself on the outside.
it's the
Yeah,
messenger.
Yes.
it is. And I want to be what I realized. It's so many people think of skin issues as looking, maybe you have breakouts, or you have, maybe discoloration of rosacea or eczema on the skin, or they'll think about dryness, or they'll think about, vitiligo or discolorations, or some of those other, discolorations of the skin. But really, if you think about the health of the skin, it's the blood flow, right?
Yeah,
How the
it's
blood is flowing to the skin is the first, how it's flowing, what's flowing in that blood. All
yes,
of that makes up for it.
100%. Our food is getting fed by our blood, by our capillaries. What is in our blood? Like, is it lots of sugar? Is it high insulin levels? Rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, autoimmune, acne, they're all inflammatory skin conditions. Processed food, excess sugar is the I'm going to say it is the cause, but I think there's a lot of taboo out there that we're not able to say that in a sense because like there is many causes, but if it doesn't cause it, it definitely makes it worse and
Yeah,
contributes
it
to,
doesn't help.
yeah, it doesn't help whatsoever.
How deep do you go with clients? And I guess it depends on the way the client wants to work with you, but you know, what I've realized, and this is why I step back from, even in RFR, I step back from being anyone's guru or
Yes.
being
Yes.
anyone's, guide.
Yes.
I spent too long, unfortunately, pushing my beliefs about ways of eating on
Yes.
others. My
100%.
belief about ingredients on others or lack of ingredients on others or
Yeah.
choosing different. I spent way too long. I made way too many mistakes doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I will never tell anyone how to eat for their body because I'm not them.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
100%.
I I wholly believe in the single ingredient food philosophy, but I believe that some single ingredient foods do better in some bodies than others.
100%.
And I'm not in that body, so I'm not going to tell them that. I can ask a
Yep.
question. I can share my own experience with something. I can give maybe some food for thought, no pun intended, that gets someone to think about how a certain food
Mhm.
is reacting in their body. But the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I've realized, and I would love to have you back, maybe before the next 8 years, but in eight
Yeah.
years, just to ask you, how's that menopause treating you, honey?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
when
Yes.
you
Yes.
get into that
I'm
perimenopause
already, yeah.
menopausal age,
Yeah.
what works
Game
in your
changer.
20s, 30s, 40s, what works
Yeah.
for you, meaning
Yes.
what gives you health, what gives you vitality, what gives you, energy, that
Yes.
might change.
100%. I think it changes in all aspects as we grow older. I'm 40, right? So even when I turned 30, I seen changes. And now when I'm turning 40, I'm like, ooh, things are even starting to change even more. And I know what's
Oh,
ahead of
just
me.
wait.
Just
Yeah.
wait.
So
Just wait.
I do educate myself. I do take good care of a lot of menopausal women. And I even just listen to the stories. I'm making sure that I am prepared. But
Good.
back to what you said, Jamie, I love what you said. Like I have done the same thing. I've exhausted my energy into clients because sometimes I can care so much more than the client
Yes.
can. And I really feel that the most important thing again is the consultation and asking the client, are you ready to do this for you? What is your why? And we can keep going back to the why. We don't have to change every single thing right away. We really need to start making small habits and saying to the client, like, meet them where they're at. They're struggling. What are the things that we can add instead of focusing on how much we can take away? Trying
Okay.
to have a healthy relationship with food, even if it's unhealthy food, right? Like
Right.
I eat unhealthy food. I have an 80-20 rule. I've got two little girls that are 4 and 7, and they always say to me, Mom, is this healthy? We focus on eating predominantly healthy foods, but then we also have a treat after. I do try to stick them with like less sugar and have some dark chocolate and things like that. But on Fridays, we have pizza. Now, we will have pizza with almond flour crust or,
Mhm.
a little bit more vegetables on the pizza. And it's a
Mhm.
balance. It's just a balance. And I don't ever discriminate against anybody on any type of diet that they're on. That's their journey. It's the way
Okay.
they will learn. And I definitely use an integrative approach. I'm here to advise them that
Yes.
plants and a balanced plate in the Mediterranean diet would be mostly the way to go for many people. But there is a lot out there on the internet, and there's a lot of beliefs that people are following. If it's working for you, that's great. But then if you're also open to my main philosophy on it all is healthy, right? So I've had my husband say to me before, Rachel, what about the carnivore? I'm like, yeah, it's a diet. I don't like diets. I like a lifestyle. I like a healthy lifestyle, and that's my main
Yeah.
goal in life is longevity.
Mhm.
I don't agree with one food group. I agree with all of it.
Right.
And
Yeah. And
there's
I can, Paige and I share that experience, that mindset. My experience, when I was really, I had major metabolic dysfunction and major cellular
yes,
dysfunction about a year ago. Finally, it was discovered. And uncovered, and like they realized the depth of it. And at that point, my organs were shutting down and my thyroid was offline. And I was sleeping all day and very, very overwhelmed with I was so sick and my moods were dysregulated. I was living in brain fog,
Yeah.
and getting through a day was like a slog every day.
Yes.
And finally, when they told me what happened, or, what was happening, they said, you have such a sensitivity to any foods that you're eating that have, carbohydrates, including fruits,
Yes.
including
Yes.
most vegetables. We need you to strip it out
Yes.
for now.
Yes.
Because I was not diabetic, but nothing was working, and my pancreas wasn't working. My liver was not working, was not cleaning my body. And they said, we can't risk you flipping over into diabetes because you're already in an autoimmune state.
Yeah.
We cannot risk you flipping over into diabetes at this point because we can't get your system to function enough so that we can give you the right medication to get you back regulated, your blood
Yeah.
sugars regulated. So we need you to just strip it out for now. So
Yeah.
they did. They put me on essentially sort of a modified carnivore diet.
Yeah.
And I dove in with both feet. I knew it was for a short time. They
Yeah.
said,
A short time. Exactly.
give us
Yes.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Let's see where you are. And by that point, they had, processed everything else. And I was able to start adding some foods back in.
That's wonderful.
I was able to start playing with some things. And now I've sort of found my way back into the single ingredient food world, but it's,
Yeah.
it's more colorful now. It's more
Yes.
holistic and inclusive now than it was
Yeah.
ago, or even
That's
less.
exactly. It's
So
exactly
yes.
what the approach I would like. It's an integrative approach. Like some people, when they eat, like if they start introducing vegetables, and it can cause like they're eating too much fiber, and it can cause bloating and gas and uncomfortableness.
Oh, and I had
And
joint pain from it, and I had all because
yeah,
I was
because
getting impact
you're
reactions.
what's the root cause of that? It's possibly a digestive issue, and your digestive system's not able to break that food down. So
That's right.
like what
I
we
guess
do
I
is
had no digestive.
yeah,
That's right.
exactly. And your metabolism's slow, so it's not breaking down any food, you know? So you're putting food on top of food, and it's making you tired and chronically fatigued and causing inflammation and stress on the body. So
Mhm.
exactly, an integrative approach, we would strip the client back to like the fork test, anything that can pass the fork test, like a smoothie with a little bit of fiber in it, with some carbs. And in your case, you couldn't have carbs. So like that's
Not
exactly
that
how
thing.
it needs to be for you for a short time, and then slowly wean those foods back in and see how you're feeling. Get to that goal eventually.
Yes, and it's trial and error, and I think that it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. For a long time for me, it
Yes.
was anyway,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm wondering for many of your clients. I have a follow-up, but Paige, go ahead. I don't want
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
where do you I love this topic of how you look at each client individually,
Yes.
because each of us are a representation on the outside of what's happening on the inside in our unique
Yeah.
gut microbiome. And that
Yeah.
microbiome is influenced by where we live, what we,
Yep.
of course, eat and drink, but what we
Mhm.
breathe, what we
Yep.
wear, how we pray, how we de-stress, how we don't de-stress, right? Our microbiome,
Addict.
it
Yeah.
is, I was talking to a friend of mine who I actually bought a dog from, but she's up in Missouri and she's a farmer all her life. She had major
Oh,
autoimmune issues, which they related to parasites because on the
yeah.
farm, you're dealing with farm
Yes.
animals, and
Yes.
you're inhaling, and they're, in her example, she said, I had farm animals spitting in my face for 30 years. And she was at 25, well, she wasn't 30, but 25,
Yeah.
she was showing major signs of parasitic
Yeah.
infection
Yeah.
everywhere in her system, and it was causing all
Mhm.
kinds of autoimmune responses in her body. So
Yeah.
they had to deparasite her, right? They
Yeah.
gave her
Oh, yeah. Flush the
anti-parasitic treatment
toxins.
and flushed them, and the autoimmunity started to get better. In my
Mhm.
situation, mine was exacerbated by mold.
Oh,
And
yeah.
is
Yep.
and that is what the toxin that sort of flipped my switch
Yeah.
into autoimmunity.
Yeah.
But I set myself up with 4.5 years of clean eating in a whole food
That's,
vegan lifestyle.
yeah.
And I was eating so much food, cruciferous vegetables, kale, buckwheat, foods high in oxalates, foods very high in those anti-nutrients that actually started to work against my thyroid. And once my thyroid crashed, all of my other system followed. So
Was
they said
your mold environmental? Was it in the house that you were living in?
it was
Yeah.
environmental. It was, and
Yeah.
it was in an apartment I was renting for about a year up
Yeah.
in the East, and I
Yeah.
was breathing in the mold and didn't know it, black mold, and didn't know it. So
Yeah.
that flipped my switch, but what
Oh
set me
yeah.
up for it, what set me up for it was this slow poisoning that I was doing to myself with eating too much of healthy foods. I was eating large amounts of healthy foods
Mm-hmm.
that are some would say the pinnacle of health, right? Tons of
Yeah.
greens and tons of raw veggies and cooked veggies and all the things that you think are like the pinnacle of health. They were making me so sick because they were literally attacking my thyroid. I had no
Wow.
idea. So I
Was
crashed
the
my own,
mold?
and then the mold and my body could
Yeah.
not come back. So
Yeah.
everything started stagnating, everything started shutting down, lymph system wasn't moving, everything
Wow.
was literally stuck. And foods that, you look at maybe a steak and a simple sweet potato and some broccoli, I would have this immense MCAS reaction, and throughout my system, I would get so inflamed. I would hold on to water in my lower
Yeah.
extremities, like within minutes of eating things that most people would consider normal. And
Yes.
my point is, all of these things, your gut microbiome can change so quickly or slowly over time, and it can change so quickly where it literally your body starts attacking itself because it doesn't know what's friend and what's foe anymore.
Exactly.
How do
Yeah.
you how do you help clients get to a point where, because that was a big part of my process, I had to start accepting that my body was not
Yeah.
I did not know it anymore.
Exactly.
I did not
So
understand what it was doing anymore.
yeah, and that's where the consultation comes in, because that's a really great point. Like parasites, mold, we have all lab testing for that. We do functional medicine lab testing for,
Yeah.
we do stool testing for parasites. We do mold testing. We do testing on the gut health, food sensitivity testing. So we're trying to find the toxin. We're trying to find the root cause, trying to find. Dr. Cabral explains it like our body is the rain barrel, and over time it just
Right.
keeps on filling up. So we got to empty the rain barrel first, find out what's
That's
the
right.
cause, find out what the toxin overload is, remove that toxin. So if it is mold, we do have mold detoxes that we can do. We have a functional medicine liver detox that we love, because what we do is we cleanse the blood, right? We give the liver a
Yep.
whole reset, and we reset the body again. And we
Mhm.
push out fat soluble toxins that are stored in the body that nothing will get rid of them. But this
Nope.
herbal functional medicine detox is the start to open up the detox pathways. If the body is so badly not removing toxins, we will start off on foundations with lemon and water and trying to do saunas and things like that to actually get the lymphatic working, lymphatic drainage, things like that, just detoxing. Opening up the
Yep.
detox pathways. If it's heavy metals, if it's parasites, we have protocols. So we will do a parasite protocol, then we'll do like a candida bacterial overgrowth protocol. And it's all herbal adaptogens that help to push out the bad bacteria, but replenish the good. Like talking about microbiome, we're resetting the microbiome of the gut. And yeah, getting rid of the toxins, replenishing the deficiencies. The body starts feeling great, really
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
I
Hmm.
love that. And I love what you were talking about, that your family has pizza on Friday nights and you have learned how to adapt
Yeah.
something that the kids think is fun and
Yeah.
still make it healthier. Because I saw somebody recently on social media talking about, if you feel like you're so restricted and you can't have what you're wanting, you're going to feel pissed off
Of
and you're going to
course.
feel
Of
angry
course.
and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so she said, she made the point of finding ways to substitute the things that
Yeah.
you want and still enjoy life, which I agree completely. And I have a food blog and I work very hard exactly to
Yeah.
fulfill that, because I am never bored with what I eat. And I always say,
Oh,
in
never.
recovery, if we're not having fun, we're doing something wrong. We should
Yes.
be able,
Yes.
this should be enjoyable and exciting
Yes.
and thrilling to have all these wonderful, healthy new experiences. So I love that you switch out flour for almond flour. And other than that, you can make pizza pretty healthy, especially if
Yeah.
you're
Oh, yeah.
making a lot of your own things. For example, just over the weekend, I was making this no noodle deconstructed lasagna that I made my own tomato sauce with roasting tomatoes
Yes.
and
Yes.
onions and carrots and olive oil and garlic, and then just blending
That's
it
so
with
healthy.
basil and pouring it into my 96% lean ground beef. And I do a little cottage cheese on the side with some
Yeah.
steamed broccoli. It tasted Italian
Delicious.
to me.
Yeah.
So that was like a deconstructed lasagna that I think was wonderful. So that is kind of the point that I wanted to make, leaning into these habits that we create for ourselves to
Mhm.
have these rich, beautiful life. Do you have some non-negotiable self-care habits that are part of your routine that either is just for yourself or that you make sure that your clients know about well as well?
Yeah, 100%. Like my three non-negotiables are definitely sleep. So for me and my husband, we're in bed by 9 o'clock. We get up really early. I'm a morning person. I love to get up really early. So I'll go up about 5:30, have some time before the kids get up. My
Yep.
kids are in bed by 7:30 every single night. They have this routine. They love it. They go to bed, read books. So sleep is definitely the number one. This is where our skin cells rejuvenate and reset and just everything. I don't eat past 6 o'clock. It's something that I like because it helps me sleep better too. My digestive system is
Great.
not working overload.
Okay.
Nutrition is definitely, I would say, a non-negotiable without a doubt. I did go through that phase of restricting everything, and I quickly
Mhm.
learned my lesson that I needed to not be so restrictive. So I don't buy anything necessarily in packets unless it's pasta and those types of things. When I'm buying my girls' treats, I do buy them from natural grocers. They don't have artificial colors in them. So I will buy like a little pack of their, I forget what they're called, but they're like little M&Ms, but they're not M&Ms. So they have them in their popcorn on movie night. So we have an 80-20 rule, 80% healthy and then 20% unhealthy. We get to
Mhm.
have options. Sometimes we go to the candy store and get an ice cream on Fridays, you know. Um, and then my third one is movement. So I have scheduled movement into my schedule. I'm making sure that I have time for a run twice a week. I have weightlifting sessions probably twice a week. And then I do Pilates on a Thursday. So I mix it up and do a lot of things. I do get up in the morning and read my Bible every single morning. That's also a non-negotiable for me, because that's my time and time before the children get up for me to reset my nervous system and set myself up for the day. Yeah, they would be my three or four non-negotiables.
Yeah, it's so funny that those that you mentioned are literally exactly in line with our four cornerstones of
Yeah.
recovery. And I love that you were mentioning sleep, and you pretty much said my exact sleep schedule as well. I try to be in bed by 8:30, but it's usually between
Hmm.
8:30 and 9, and I'm up by 5:30,
Yeah.
a little before 5:30 every morning.
Mhm.
But I wanted to say something about sleep. Don't you think that, well, we say single ingredient food is our number one pillar, but and everything kind of rolls downhill from the food. But sleep for me is almost equal to food, because I'm telling
100%.
you, unless I get a night's sleep, I just can barely function the next day. And
100%.
I have
Yeah.
gotten much more delicate in my sleep systems as
Yes.
I've gotten older. But and I love that you have the kids have a good sleep routine too, because they can get cranky too, if
Oh,
especially like
I
that. If
honestly prefer my kids. My husband never believed me when I told him like they need 12 hours sleep, especially the toddler. And he's like, 12 hours? I'm like, look it up. They need
Yeah.
these 12 hours sleep. And they're wonderful. I have great kids. I've got beautiful kids. I wake up every morning right at 6:30. Mommy. We have the routine, we get breakfast, they're walking out the door happy as Larry, as two little kids, had breakfast, they're fed, they've had 12 hours sleep. They're great. They're great kids at school. They concentrate, they're doing well at school. It's not a coincidence. It's not a
That's it.
coincidence. I mean, I'm not like a magic wand with magic mommy. I mess up, but the essential part is that they get 12 hours sleep and they eat nutrient dense food and they're
Mhm.
not full of sugar.
And you had said earlier about that's when your skin cells repair themselves is while
Oh
you're
yeah,
sleeping.
rejuvenate and repair. That's when
Mhm.
I really love to put like my fat soluble vitamin A on my skin, vitamin C. I have really nice masks that I like to sleep in. It's a game changer for your skin also. I mean, think back to the times when you did have your children and you didn't have sleep. How crazy were your hormones and how cranky you were. It's not like I don't want to ever go through that again.
Yeah.
No.
You know. Yeah.
And when we're talking about habits, we also in recovery talk a lot about habit stacking. And so
Yes.
all the things that you were
Yes.
mentioning with
Yes.
your spirituality, your movement or working out, along with the sleep and the food, that's literally
Yes.
how we help people in recovery is stacking
Yeah.
all these habits together for
Yes.
the best life
Yes.
options.
That's exactly how I approach it too. I call it habit stacking. What's the one thing that we can change? Let's get that locked in. When that's locked in, take our time. We're going to move to the next habit and then we're going to get that locked in and we're enjoying life and we have a good mindset about it. And we're going to get another one. And yeah, that's how I do.
And I can't remember if we had started recording. We were visiting, maybe this was before, but you had said, isn't it all about mindset? Was that how you asked that question?
Yeah, yeah, I was referring to like what's possibly the biggest struggle that you find your
Oh,
clients are having.
right.
Is
That's
it
right.
is it mostly mindset? Is it mostly mental?
Right. And so if you take that back to that question, all of
Mm,
these habit stacking things, there's nothing that plays a bigger influence on our mindset than
yes.
these things that we're doing. And so if we want to help our mindset, it's all these habit stacking things
Oh,
that are
100%.
culminated into this beautiful life. So
Hmm. Yeah.
Rachel, one of the things that we see that folks, again, it shows up differently on different people, because
Hmm.
because of their unique microbiome and their unique
Yes.
cellular function.
Genetics. Yeah.
Where, yes, yes, good point. Where do you stand with things like dairy?
So I knew that this question would come up, but I remember when I was a little girl, I'm from Ireland. I was raised in Ireland, and we used to get our milk delivered to the door with cream on top of it, like just straight from the cow. And I
Mhm.
don't think that dairy, real dairy,
Right,
is an issue. But I
right.
think that processed food and things that the cows are not generally supposed to be eating. I've heard stories of farmers feeding their cows Skittles. I don't know how
Yeah.
true that is, but I've heard like it's what is your cow eating that
Right.
you're eating from? If it's out there in Ireland eating the most delicious green grass, I'm happy to drink that milk.
That's it.
It doesn't affect me necessarily, but does
Right.
it affect the person that's drinking it? Well, then that's not right for you. Now,
Exactly.
gluten, on the other hand, if I have gluten, there's no chance I can eat it. There's just no chance. I immediately get drowsy. My eyes puff up. I
Mhm.
get like clearing of the throat. And people don't realize that, like, even just when you're clearing your
Oh
throat
yeah,
from eating is a food sensitivity.
that's food
It's just
sensitivity.
taking note of every time that you eat those foods. What is it causing? Did you have a headache a couple of hours later? That could be from the food you ate. Is there a
Yeah.
skin rash going on? Are you itchy? That could be food. More than likely, it is the food.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. We had a guest on, I think it was last week, talked about food sensitivity testing. I
Yes.
I I kind of feel like food sensitivity testing is sort of like
Mm.
uh weather testing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like you can
Yeah.
get a really clear view of the weather if you test it on one day, and you can get an absolute perfect view of that weather,
That's a
what's
good
happening that
point.
day. And
Yeah.
then the next day the weather changes and your test wouldn't look the same. What are your thoughts
Mhm.
on, I know I've had folks come to me because I have experience with food testing, and I've done it on myself, and for me it was a colossal failure.
Right.
Um, not colossal,
Yeah.
but it was just, it was not, it was not informative.
Okay.
And it did, none of the changes that I made reflected in my healing.
Yes.
This food sensitivity, and I've read that food sensitivity testing can be fickle. What is your experience with that? Or do you?
So we do food sensitivity testing. Um, I think it's nice to have a picture of what may be potentially causing inflammation if there's foods not agreeing with you. There was a
Mhm.
couple of things that came back on my food sensitivity test, like pineapple, and I was like, that's weird. So I gave it a break for a little while, but now I eat pineapple again. So, your point is right. Like, I think it's great to have a picture at that moment, like any lab, at that
Sure,
moment, what your body is
exactly.
feeling or what it's reacting to.
Mhm.
So I think it's very, very good to have a really good intuition and say, like, I didn't feel right today. It'd be great to have a food journal. I mean, that would be wonderful to be able to write down the types of foods and how you felt afterwards, but nobody has time for that. So the food sensitivity is great to have, like, oh, am I sensitive to gluten? I know for sure I'm 100% sensitive to gluten. And so was my little girl, the oldest one, very sensitive to gluten. And I feel like my 4-year-old's very sensitive to dairy. She actually doesn't like ice cream. Now, if your 4-year-old tells you that she doesn't like ice cream, I take that serious as in I think it upsets her tummy.
Yeah.
So she's just very aware, and being aware of how you felt after the meal is very powerful too.
Very
Yeah.
powerful. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. I love that. I've kept food and mood journals in the past, and it
Yeah,
was
that's
very
awesome.
illuminating for me. And I've
Yeah.
also found that things change as I age too, and in foods that didn't, there was a time when dairy did not serve
100%.
me, and there are times when I can incorporate a little bit of it if that I have
Yeah.
to watch about how it is, what it is, and
Yes.
where it's raised
Yes.
and what it's fed, and I look at the ingredients and I don't, and there's certain cellular structures of dairy that I do
Yes.
better with than others.
Yes. For example, I feed my kids Ezekiel bread. It has
Mhm.
an enzyme that helps to break it down in the digestive system. So
Mhm.
they can eat that bread. But if I gave them a sliced pan white loaf, like they're upset tummies, they're constipated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the quality of food that we're putting in our mouth. That's what it is. It's the quality of the food. And
Well,
you could give up gluten for 3 months, for
mhm.
example, and then just add one little bit of it. You probably won't feel the effect of it. But
No,
keep on taking it, and then your body will start to feel the effect.
poison is in the dose. The poison
Yes.
is in
Yeah.
the dose. 100%.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well
I'm
said.
glad you guys, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the topic of dairy because that is just such a polarizing topic and people are so
Yeah.
passionate about you
So
can't eat
personal
any
though.
dairy.
So
Yeah,
Yes.
personal.
some are just, such zealots about no dairy and other people are like dairy's great. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Personal.
just going back to it depends on what the cow eats,
Yes.
right?
Well, and
It's like
also where you are, and I've eaten raw dairy, raw, kefir and other things because in
Yes. Oh,
Texas we
yeah.
have access to raw dairy,
Yeah.
and uh, and it didn't. There was a time when it didn't work for me. My gut junctions were not healed enough, and it just didn't
Hmm.
work. I don't, it could have been, blessed by the Pope, and it wouldn't have worked for my system. So
So,
and
like,
now it does. So it just
yeah, we go and buy the Irish butter, the Kerrygold butter, and
right.
like
yeah.
love that. Like I even love spreading lumps of it on the Ezekiel bread for the girls and putting on the potatoes or on their broccoli and just like it's a good fat.
Yes,
So
it is.
it's fed by grass-fed cows and they nobody has
Yes.
a reaction. I don't have a reaction to it.
Mm,
It's the hormones that are pumped into the milk that's not real milk. So when we talking about dairy or are we talking about processed drinks from cows that are pumped full of hormones and not eating what
There
they're
you go.
supposed to be eating?
Well said.
That's the difference.
Well said.
You give me hope and I think about your industry. Do you feel like there's changes that are coming in your industry where people are starting to look more towards this holistic approach with people?
I think 100 million%. I've lived in Australia, I've lived in Italy, and I'm from Ireland, so I pay attention to those countries and what they're doing. And Australia has already been um on that bandwagon, if you want to say, of looking at the skin as an inward outward approach. America is definitely following suit. It depends on what state you're in. But like, look at what's happening even in the food industry at the moment, where artificial colors have been banned, and this is great. And people are opening up and paying attention. I do find a lot of people wanting to find the root cause, because they're really understanding that skin really is an internal issue. It's a messenger. Our skin's the largest organ. It's telling us, like Jamie was saying, that her skin was pale. It was sending a message of something pale. We have people who have rosacea, who have severely red, raw skin. That's a messenger saying,
Mhm.
what's going on
Yeah.
genuinely with the gut or the nervous system or both?
Mhm.
Um, Psoriasis is an autoimmune disease. What's going on? Why is your skin overacting and creating more extra skin cells? Acne is an inflammatory skin condition. Are the hormones, insulin, blood sugar, moods? What's going on? Like, it is all an internal issue. Every single thing that happens, and yes, to the question, this industry is changing.
That's
We
good.
are taking care of, I'm so passionate about it, taking care of people with a functional medicine approach. And like, skincare matters too. So facials and topically taking care of the skin that way really matters, as well as a whole inward out approach.
Beautiful. What do you
Mm,
recommend? I've heard some folks in your type of position talk about, obviously we want to get all those paraffins and artificial colors and
yeah.
artificial um perfumes and dyes off of our skin. That was something that, when I got sick, that I got rid of all of my plastics, I got rid of all of my chemicals that I was putting on my skin, in my body, all of that. And that helped a lot. But I've heard that there's different schools of thought around what people use to moisturize their skin. Beyond, I'm not talking just face, but what do you use to moisturize the neck down?
Yeah. So when you say the neck down, are you meaning like what am I using from here? Yeah.
No,
So
what are you using here?
there is huge swamping on social media of skincare and organic and non-toxic, and
Yeah,
it's overwhelming even for me as a skincare therapist.
I bet.
So my philosophy is always to get my clients on a vitamin A, a vitamin C, and a vitamin E, right? Now, I love fat soluble forms of vitamin A. We know
Mhm.
vitamin A as retinol. Retinol is overused in the industry. It actually can tin the skin. It's very sensitive to the sun, and it cannot be taken by the skin very easily. So it can cause a lot of irritation and dryness and redness.
And it can
So
cause discoloration, I heard in the sun. A lot of,
yeah,
if
it
too much,
can.
if you
It
have too
can,
much
because
retinol on.
it makes your skin very sensitive to the sun. So when we
Yes.
walk outside, the sun depletes our vitamin A on a daily basis. It steals it. So
Mhm.
it's very, very important to get our skin cells taking vitamin A, both internally, right, by all of the
Yeah.
red and orange and yellow color foods, but
Mhm.
topically with really good scientifically backed proven skincare that actually has the ability to take it into the cell and work inside the cell. So
Mhm.
I love fat soluble forms of vitamin A. They get traveled into the cell, and when they're inside the cell, then they work as retinoic acid. They turn into retinoic acid and work like that inside of the cell. They cause less irritation on the way in. Now, not every skin can take vitamin A straight off the bat, because they probably have an impaired barrier, and we want to repair that first. So
Yes.
again, consultation is very important. My
Mhm.
skin's cells are now very, very healthy. So I have this regular routine of vitamin A, C, and E. I love peptides. Peptides are the building blocks for your skin. Think of protein like it's amino
Do you
acids.
inject them, or are you talking topically?
I'm talking topically.
Good.
So there is a lot of skincare out there that says it's organic and it's natural, but it doesn't do anything necessarily. It's not working inside of the cell. There's skin ingredients out there that say it's packed full of vitamin C. Is it
Mm.
capsulated? Is it in a proper bottle? If it's not, well, then the vitamin C is not active. Does it have the
Mhm.
ability to be transported into the cell?
Well
Skincare
said.
is I invest a lot of money in my training for just learning about the skin and skin ingredients and what concern needs what type of ingredients to heal. We're going to be talking about
Mhm.
different ingredients for an impaired barrier than we are for aging or pigmentation and trying to help fix
Mhm.
pigmentation. So yeah, it's so like, I don't know if people are starting to realize this, but if you find an esthetician that is invested so much money in her education on how the skin works, it's worth taking a consultation from a professional and having an overhaul consult with that professional, like you would at the doctor's or wherever your functional medicine
Sure.
practitioner.
Yeah.
Because skin is so complex. It's not like just, oh, here, this product worked for me, so it's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's complex. It's not that easy.
Well, if you could
Food.
leave, I'm sorry, Jamie.
Just
Say
like
that
the
again.
food. Just like the
Yeah,
food.
Just
just
like
like
the
the
food,
food.
integrative approach.
Yeah, that's right. So as we wrap up here, do you have one piece of advice for our audience that, for the vast majority would help people with healing their skin and body? And, where do you start? Where would it be a good place to start?
100% start with speaking to a really good professional, getting that consultation, helping them get to the root cause. I always feel like people are like overwhelmed and like I don't have the money to start with a consultation. Start with the foundations. Most of the things are free, just what we spoke about. A good night's sleep, drinking some lemon water, getting the bile and all the detoxification, nutrition. What is the foods that are causing me bloating and gas and digestive upset? Try to find ways on how we can calm our nervous system, take the kids out for a walk. These are all things that are free that we can do. And these are the
Yeah.
biggest impact, like the biggest impact. Spirituality, doing things that give you support, love, and joy, just doing the things that make you happy.
I love that. I love that answer. Jamie, you want to add anything before we finish up?
Well, I think my last question, it keeps coming up in my mind, so I'm going to ask it because I know it's a hot topic. Paige and I, have asked this of other guests, but where do you stand on the effects to the skin from GLP-1 treatments
Oh.
and injections?
Oh, so I'll start off by saying that I don't know enough about it to
Mhm.
say much about it, but I it's a good topic, but it's a tricky one. Um, don't necessarily align with the concept. Okay, so I agree with it in certain aspects of getting somebody to a certain point. So I think there's a
Mhm.
point of something to, if someone's 300 pounds or 200 pounds and maybe they need just that little shift. But for people who are already like healthy individuals who have excess fat and they're using it to get skinny, I think is detrimental to their health. I
100.
think they're losing too much muscle, and I think losing the muscle again shifts back to mindset. Are we looking for a band-aid fix or are we looking for the root
Right.
cause? And I really
That's right.
feel that we should be helping individuals find the root cause rather than band-aid fixes.
I agree.
Or
And so
longevity.
much of it. That's right. And so much of the last, what people talk about, the last 20 pounds or the last 30 pounds or the last
Oh
10
yeah,
pounds, and
you're
they're
there
using these,
already, but
they're
you're there.
there, but there's something else going on. If they're holding
Yeah,
on to that last,
metabolism. And then not only are we able to help them build their metabolism back up, but we're helping with longevity. We're helping them live longer lives, which I want, you know?
right. And it's interesting because I had a doctor say this to me last year. And she said, I think that you should try them because they're going to be the new longevity medicine. And I looked at her like,
Oh,
are you, and I've heard of people even using them in microdosing. That's the new thing.
yeah,
Microdose. And I have heard horror stories of gastroparesis and all kinds
yeah,
of reatic issues,
yes,
reactions that they don't even know is happening in their body.
yeah.
In,
And mental,
in response to
have you heard people give you saying things like that they don't feel right mentally, like they feel depressed or down or low? So I've
Mm.
seen a lot of that, that their
Interesting.
mindset is that very different and they're just not feeling good.
Ah,
So
wouldn't be
I would be
shocked.
questioning there's so many ways that we can help women with metabolism. So many ways. And blood sugar regulation. And they're very great ways on also helping with our mind and our mental health and our lifestyle and how we want to show up as women for ourselves. Again, it goes back to mindset. It goes back to our why. Why are we doing it? Unfortunately, we needed a wake-up call. I needed a wake-up call to change. And hopefully it's not a dramatic wake-up call to change. Just
Yeah. Yeah. The idea of what we're seeing, you know, if we know our brains are made up of fat, and we know that
yes.
our hearts and our organs rely on muscles, right? And the heart is a
Yeah.
muscle.
Muscle,
If
come
you're
on.
losing those things, if your body is literally, you know, catabolizing itself, it's not like your body's like, I'm not going to catabolize that organ. I'm just going to go after this bicep. No, like your body, I have no doubt that brains are shrinking. I have no doubt hearts are shrinking. I don't care how small the doses are of these medications. I believe in not that long. I think it'll be 5 years, maybe 10.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's sooner that people will look back on this GLP-1, you know, experiment, and just we'll look back on it like we do in other past experiments of drugs and realize how horrifically wrong we were. And honestly, how we look back on the barbarianism of the weight loss surgeries. We look back on that now, 10 years later, 20 years later, like, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
It went
Yes.
horribly wrong. That
I
whole
just
genre.
I just say my philosophy, no more band-aid fixes, just no more. Just
I agree.
finding the root cause and helping the client achieve what they need to achieve going forward for longevity and health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
This has
joining
been a
us today,
great
Rachel.
conversation.
Yes, it was being great. I mean, I don't even know what time it is. I want to stay here all day.
Well, we'd love to have you back. We'd love to have you back. I
Yes.
feel like we just scratched the surface, no pun intended, and we want to go
Yes.
more than skin.
Yes. I
Ha,
would
ha,
love
ha.
that.
Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us today.
Really
Thank
enjoyed it.
you so much, ladies. You're doing amazing work, and I can't wait for your book.
Yes, that by the time this comes out, it hopefully will already be out, but hopefully on
I
May
can't wait to
5th.
get a copy.
Yes, it will be out on Amazon in hardback, softback, Audible, and Kindle. So,
Yay.
and if you want to find out more about us, you can find us at realfoodrecovery4u.com. That's the number 4 and the letter U, and we hope to see you there. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.